trouble. Is someone there?
Hey everybody, it's commentary time. So, today we're taking on Golden Glow. Obviously you know that already. Our target is Aringoth, and I want to thank Gail for the submission. Golden Glow is always a lot of fun. This one required a little bit of setup time because I had to get far enough along in the quest line that I could do this part of the Thieves Guild quest. But there's a lot to offer here. Golden Glow Island is crawling with mercenaries, very deadly and difficult mercenaries. There's some, outdoor stuff, some underground stuff, some indoor stuff. There's a lot of opportunities here. So this one is actually a lot of fun, pretty exciting, and we used some new things from Apocalypse Spell Package that turned out to be pretty awesome. We'll see those in action shortly. I've got a couple of rules for myself here. One is that I have decided that on this infiltration, I am going to try as much as possible to make it look like there was some huge revolt on the island and the mercenaries killed each other, as if they broke into factions and slaughtered each other, and that Aringoth got kind of caught up in the melee, I guess. The other thing is that I decided to use this troll as an infiltration tool. He happened to be there when I was starting the recording, so I thought, why not use him? This is something that I've used in other playthroughs before, but I've never used it in SHADEling for Hire. So I just let the troll follow me. I got him aggressive, let him follow me in, and now while they're distracted fighting the troll, I'm going to do some stuff here. So I'm starting out with a gaze rune. I need to convert some of these guys to my side so I can start a fight. So I put down a gaze rune, which caught up the two archers at the top of the hill. So now those archers are on my side, and they're firing at their comrades on the other islands and near the gate here. But I know that these guys aren't going to last long on their own, so I'm going to have to get them some more allies. The trick here, when doing this kind of thing, is trying very, very hard to maintain the balance. You don't want to balance it too much on your side, right? Otherwise, pretty soon you'll end up with all allies, and that, they're just going to mill around, and then they're going to become a pain in the rear to get rid of. So I'm trying to maintain balance here. Now, this spell is called Harrowing Dirge, which is really amazing. Basically, what it does is it's an area effect spell. The two people here that are caught up in it are now cursed. What that means is that when one person who is cursed dies, everyone else who has been cursed takes 20% damage. You can look at the details of the spell. I can't remember it exactly, but the real amazing thing about this, and we'll see this in action in a little bit here, is that this stacks. So the more people you can get caught up in the curse, the better off you are. So you can see here now, I'm catching up 2 more in the curse. Now I've got 4 cursed. All right, and I'm still keeping it pretty balanced. So far, I've been using just the gaze rune to turn them to my side, and then I also used one of the perk advantages I have in the illusion tree called Nemesis. And that's a great one because it's not a spell, but it's very quick and easy to use. If I ever feel like things are getting unbalanced, then I can use that. Now, see them all bunched up? We're going to use Harrowing Dirge again. I'm casting it on top of itself here just to make sure I get as many caught up in this thing as possible. Now, with this many people caught up and knowing that the spell stacks, all it takes is one person to croak. One person dies, and it's a massive chain reaction, and everybody goes down as that 20% stacks and stacks and stacks. You'll see it here. We'll get in close. I think at this point, I've got 6 people caught up in this Harrowing Dirge curse now. All it takes is one of these guys to go down. You can see they're all glowing purple. Some of them are on my side, some of them aren't, obviously. And then one goes, and it's like dominoes. Bam. And it's that little snick sound as if their throats are being cut magically somehow. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I used it extensively here, inside and out. But that was probably the most dramatic example I can think of that I've experienced so far. I believe that was 6 kills all at once in a chain reaction. So pretty amazing stuff. So at this point, pretty much all I've used to get in is Harrowing Dirge and a Gaze spell. Turned everybody against each other when they were all in a big mob absolutely wailing on one another. Then we cursed them all, and then it was a chain reaction as soon as one died. Pretty amazing stuff. And here I'm just kind of looking around. Honestly, I was in disbelief. I looked over here. Now there's another one. That was a 7th one, and he was stuck in this area. I didn't even know he was there, but he had already been cursed, so he was taken out as well. So, yeah, at this point, it got quiet suddenly, and I was looking around like there's got to be someone else left. There literally was not. I mean, they were all dead. It was amazing. So, I think it's easy to say that some of these spells are overpowered, but I don't think it's a fair assessment, because in order to do some of these things that I'm doing, it requires setup. It requires work to create the situations that make these spells what they are, that maximize their impact. And that takes practice and time and experimentation. So I think to say that these spells are overpowered is not accurate at all. I think they have a lot of killing capacity, but only if they're used in absolutely the right way, and some of these things are hard to pull off. So here I've got 3 bad guys I need to deal with. I'm starting with Compelling Whispers. I turn 1 to my side, which means the other 2 are going to attack. And when they're all in a cluster right there fighting each other, they all get cursed. So I've got 3 there. Now I go invisible. And understanding what the patrol pattern is of these guys, I'm assuming the guy in the chair is going to die because it's 2-on-1. So I'm putting a Gaze rune down here at the end of this patrol pattern, which means if and when that guy dies, the 2 guys are going to go back about their business. One is going to sit at the table. The other is going to walk to the end of the hall. He's going to hit the Gaze rune, and suddenly the 2 that are remaining are going to be fighting as well. Now, what I elected to do here was just kind of check in and see how things are going. It's sort of going as I would expect. I don't think the first guy that I charmed is going to survive this. Yeah, he's going down right now. Okay. But I figure, at this point, I've kind of got myself set up with the Gaze rune. These guys are going to go back to their patrol patterns, and there he goes. It pops off now. Now these guys are fighting each other. Another curse just for good measure, just to make sure that it doesn't time out. Then I just decided to head upstairs. Now, when I come back down, one of those guys is going to be alive and one isn't. I don't know which it's going to be, but if it's the guy on my side, more than likely, he's going to be fighting whoever else comes in once I come downstairs. So this area was kind of interesting. I started out again with Compelling Whispers just to turn this guy to my side. Now, he is not in the vicinity of any other mercenaries, so he's got nobody to fight. I mean, once I have him charmed, he's going to go back to his post, which is absolutely fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to the far end of the hall, and I'm going to start a fight. And that guy that we charmed with Compelling Whispers is going to come to our rescue. He's going to be he's going to provide an additional sword to kind of keep the battle going. So here I cast Mind Control just to get him up out of his chair. He has to be out of his chair, otherwise I can't move him. Then I cast it again to snare him. Now we're going to go pester this guy. Now, the guy I mind controlled, he's not going to fight until the other guy hits him. Okay, that guy just blocked him. Now he's going to draw his sword, and now they're going to start fighting. Now, the guy that we charmed earlier, he's on his way right now to provide reinforcements. And so these guys are going to double team the guy I just woke up. We'll see him rush in here in a minute. There he is. Okay. Now we've got a 2-on-1 situation. So there's a strong likelihood here that we're going to eliminate this guy because, he's obviously outnumbered. But the cool thing here about Mind Control is I can break the Mind Control spell anytime that I want to. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to calculate how close to death the bad guy is. As soon as I think that he's close to death, I abandon the spell by hitting the sheath button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to swoop in there while the three of them are still fighting, and I'm going to curse all three of them. Remember, I want to catch as many up in the Harrowing Dirge as possible. So here, he's still up. I want to hit them all now before he goes down so they all take damage. Bam. There. Okay, there it goes. Now everybody's going to take damage as soon as someone goes down. Now at this point, they're distracted, doing their thing. So I decided to pick the lock on Aringoth's door and get this open. I wasn't entirely sure at this point how I was going to take him out yet. I hadn't quite decided. But then he was standing right there, so I thought I'd make him aggressive. I picked his pocket, went invisible, and drew him out. And then at this point, now that he's aggressive, I can hit him with something here. I was kind of hoping he'd jump into that battle with those guys, but he chickened out, which isn't surprising. I don't think that's how he's supposed to react. So I got him cursed. That makes sure he's caught up in whatever damage is going on here on this floor of the lodge. All right. Now at this point, because he's aggressive, I can use Nemesis on him. So now he's going to fight his Nemesis. And again, remember, I want it to look like these guys all killed each other. So it's important to me that they have wounds on their bodies. They got to have sword wounds. They got to have not magic wounds, but sword wounds. So Aringoth got a couple whacks in on him with the sword. Remember, SHADEling doesn't use a sword. So we're kind of relying on the mercenaries here to do the damage for us, either killing people or marking their bodies with sword blows and stuff, so it looks like that's how they died. And then we finished off Aringoth with a simple stealth kill, a broken neck or whatever. Okay, now that is the lone survivor. It looks like our guy is the one that survived. Now remember, you know, as soon as I turned that mind control off, it was interesting because we went in there and the two guys were still fighting the one. But as soon as that one guy died, then the other two turned on one another because I was no longer controlling that guy's mind. So suddenly he was no longer in my faction, right? So it was kind of a stacking sort of effect in a way where, you know, I started a fight between two, we brought in reinforcements, then I abandoned the mind control and left that guy to fend for himself with the guy that I had charmed earlier, who hadn't taken as many blows and was probably in a better situation to survive the battle overall. Now I used that frost spell. I put it under that location where we know the guy is going to stand. That is how he's going to die. But I figure at this point, he's taken so many licks with the sword, somebody's going to look at that body, the ice will be melted, the water will be gone, and he'll look like just another guy who died from a bunch of sword hacks and stuff. So I feel okay about using Frost Rune in that capacity. I didn't want to overuse it, though. I wanted to mainly rely on things like Mind Control and Compelling Whispers and Gaze Runes and stuff. So there he is. He's out. All right, that takes care of this floor, and we also got the statue, which was part of the contract. We had to get that golden bee statue. We got that. Got rid of Aringoth. Now what we've got to do is eliminate the rest of the mercenaries. Now, when we go downstairs, 3 new mercenaries have come in. That's kind of how this works. The cool thing is that because I had used a Gaze Rune prior to going upstairs, they're all fighting amongst themselves now. Because we still had a couple survivors down here who were loyal to us because of the spells we had used. Now I cursed all of them with Harrowing Dirge, so we're going to stack that damage when somebody goes down. A couple more are going to take damage. I just scooched out of the way and kind of let them do what they want to do here. Now, at this point, I just wanted them to calm down a little bit, but I couldn't make any moves while they were up at the top of the stairs, because that is where I had cast my Ghost Walk. If I had broken that spell, it would have dropped me right in front of them and they would have just beat me to death. So I used a healing spell to break that Ghost Walk. Okay, now they're a little bit more calm. They're still on alert, but they're a bit more calm. And again, this mode that they're in right now is not an aggressive mode towards me. It kind of looks like it is because their weapons are drawn. But if I try to use Nemesis or something like that against them, it won't work because they're just kind of walking around with their weapons drawn. I guess their ire is up, but they're not specifically targeting that at me. So their aggression has to be targeted at me for me to use something like Nemesis. So at this point, I'm just looking for an opportunity. What I really wanted to do here is catch one of them in Compelling Whispers so that I could start the last two survivors fighting each other. But then I was kind of, where are they? You know, I couldn't figure out where they were at first. I didn't realize they were both in the same hallway here, so I was checking some rooms, looking to make sure nobody had wandered down to this end of the building. And there he was. He was right there. So this worked out really well because now he's isolated, which means that gives me time to cast Compelling Whispers without worrying about any interference from the other guy. Now he's going to walk back along his patrol pattern like he normally would. And as soon as he comes into sight of the other guy who does not have Compelling Whispers cast on him, they'll go after each other. Just a matter of time. But then I found him sitting here. So then my concern was, well, he's never going to get up out of that chair, and I don't think that that guy's patrol pattern comes far enough over here. So what I did is I just punched him in the face and did that damage to him and was relying on Harrowing Dirge, hopefully, to take out the other guy, but it wasn't quite enough damage to do that. So then I just decided to start looting a few things. It's kind of killing time a little bit. In the end, what I decided to do here was once again use a Frost rune to take out the last guy, rather than waiting around and stuff like that. So we had talked about this in the Kill Petra episode. He is basically going to stay in my faction until the spell wears off. So if we know what his patrol pattern is, we can just put a rune down, and when that spell breaks, this thing will activate and he'll be done, which means we don't have to hang around. So I just put that in the patrol pattern and headed to the basement where we've got some other stuff to deal with. But my plan is to come back up to this floor to confirm the kill, because part of the rules for Gail's contract was I had to kill all the mercenaries. And this is one of those levels where if you go back and forth between floors, even between inside and outside, new mercenaries can spawn each time you do that. So coming back and forth was just kind of my way of making sure that I was following the rules of the contract, just making doubly sure everyone was dead. So here we've got two over in the corner. And what I'm going to try to do is catch these two up in Compelling Whispers. So I started with this guy, but the spell kind of, it extends out from the caster in a cone. So I was able to catch up both of them in it. Okay? Once I had them compelled, then I decided to go down the hall and bring our other guy into it. So there's a spot here where you kind of go down into the very lowest level of the basement, and there's a guard there. So I wanted to get him into a conflict with the two that I had charmed. So in order to do that, I decided to use Shadow Bond. Now the trick here is I want to catch him in the Shadow Bond, but I don't want to release the Shadow Bond until I'm in a situation where he's going to be within sight of the two that I've charmed, because I need them to fight each other. All right, so I captured him with Shadow Bond. Now, all I need to do is cast the Shadow Bond spell one more time, and he and I will trade places. So I'm going to come right over here in amongst these guys who are now my allies. I'm going to cast the spell, and it teleports him right into that spot, and now they're fighting each other. Now all I have to do is go back and kind of monitor the battle to make sure that it's going like it needs to go. Using Harrowing Dirge again, too, will help, because now I can get 3 people caught up in the curse, which means it'll stack 3 times. That's just that much more damage everyone's going to take when somebody dies. So I cast that in there, then go invisible, and just kind of wait and see what happens. Once again, you know, we've got a 2-on-1 situation. This is what I like to set up, right? Because that way I can kind of maximize the damage on one, get rid of him, and then figure out how to deal with the remaining 2. All right, so they take care of that one. They each take a tiny little bit of damage, not a lot. Again, Harrowing Dirge is most effective when you've got big mobs caught up in it. Then it's insane what you can do with this thing. Now, these guys are in my faction now because of the spell, so I can just walk around them. It doesn't really matter. They're not going to do anything to me. So we'll just do our looting here, get that done, and then we got to figure out how to deal with them. So what I decided to do here is I'm using Dispel Magic. I need to turn off, or basically nullify, my Compelling Whispers. So I cast this. Now you can see they don't have any Compelling Whisper effect on them anymore. They're plenty aggressive toward me. So we go invisible. And now what I need to do is turn the remaining 2 against each other. So at this point, I elected to use Mind Control just because I felt like it would give me a bit more control over the fight. Now I cast Harrowing Dirge again. You can see that the Harrowing Dirge effect was removed by the Dispel Magic as well. The added effect here is that it gets them up out of their chairs. Once again, I cannot... Mind Control is useless if they're leaning against a wall or in a chair because I won't be able to move them. I can't get them up out of their chair. So Harrowing Dirge gets them up out of the chair. Now I can Mind Control the one and get them fighting each other. And then we'll see who makes it. These guys really go after each other. They're pretty evenly matched. So I've noticed that when I'm doing this mind control technique, for example, these guys will wail on each other for a very long time sometimes. I mean, these battles can go on for long periods of time. So most of the time, I prefer not to use mind control. I'd rather use something like a Gaze Rune or Compelling Whispers because while they're doing their thing, I can go do other stuff. Okay, so there, I broke the mind control spell, and now I'm going to turn the tables here. I'm going to add a little bit of additional damage to one of these guys. I'm trying to use Nemesis to end the fight a bit more quickly. And then I'm putting down a Frost Rune in this area, knowing one of the 2 is going to survive, and whoever survives is going to come back here. So, there we go. The one goes down. He takes a little bit of damage from Harrowing Dirge. But now it's all over. And he heads back to his post, and we can loot the body. That's one of the things I really like about the combination of illusion magic and the advantages of the Nemesis perk from Ordinator, is that it allows me periodically to create artificially these 2-on-1 situations without, having to have another victim or whatever to hit with a spell. I can sort of create an enemy out of thin air that allows me to create these temporary sort of 2-on-1 situations, eliminate an enemy, and have the outcome look like they'd killed each other. The idea is that SHADEling doesn't want people to realize that he's involved. So we really want it to look like there was some kind of big battle royal on this island and everybody was basically slaughtered in the action. So now we're just kind of going through the motions here, getting the quest items for this. And now we're heading out. Now, I didn't go out through the underground area because I need to go back up to the main floor and confirm what's happening up there with the guy that we left wandering with a frost rune. Now, what actually ended up happening is that my frost rune kicked off and killed him, but another one had spawned in upstairs that I had to deal with anyway, just to, finally clear it out once and for all. Now, I don't know. It's possible that, if I was going back and forth here, that they would just keep spawning. There you can see that frost rune finally popped. We took some people out, but there's one left. Just hid under the stairs to kind of get him off the scent.
Anybody there?
And then we're just going to deal with him hand to hand.
Damn, we've got trouble.
So at this point, I'm just kind of waiting for the right opportunity to kind of swoop in and catch him unaware. If at all possible, I don't like to approach them from the front, but sometimes it's unavoidable. Get the good kill cam there. Nice job, SHADEling. Now we can exit. So we're going right out through the front door, same way that we came in. And now we got to go burn some beehives. But as it turned out, there were more mercenaries to worry about out in front. You may have noticed the mask has changed. Big thank you to Katie Bryson, who helps me out with the masks. She and I have been kind of alternating, changing the masks. This particular mask, she created the initial design, and then I did some color modification on it. But we've been kind of trading off, creating masks for SHADEling, and my goal is to change them out frequently. I think it's fitting with the SHADEling's personality as it's coming together in his roleplay series. So you'll be seeing probably a lot of different masks in these episodes as we kind of mess around with that. Okay, so we've got a couple here to deal with. Now, this was an interesting test, right? I was wondering kind of what the range of compelling whispers is. It actually turned out to be quite a bit further than I expected. So at this point, we've got two mercs left. We've got them fighting each other. And while they're fighting, SHADEling blinks over here, grabs a torch, and we're going to go burn some hives. Kind of interesting how much magic the SHADEling uses, but he does not have fire spells. He doesn't use fire spells. From a roleplay perspective, he is all about frost magic, and that is it. That's his specialty. That's what he uses. So no fire, no lightning, stuff like that. The only exception might be, I suppose, there are some lightning effects in the Cyclonic Rift spell, but it's mainly about teleportation, which I think fits with his displacement style of magic use. So I go ahead and use that one. Plus, it's too fun not to use it. But, you know, standard stuff, I don't, you know, standard fire and lightning spells, I just kind of avoid. Okay, so we got them fighting. Now we've hit them both with Harrowing Dirge. And now we're going to kind of wait it out here. At this point, I was trying to think through, how do I deal with a situation if I don't know who's going to survive this? So I decided to equip Dispel Magic in one hand, and then a Frost Rune in the other, thinking that if it was the bad guy that survived, I'd hit him with a Frost Rune. If it was my guy that survived, I'd dispel the Compelling Whisper first and then hit him with the Frost Rune. And then it occurred to me that, oh wait, I can't do any of that because I'm in Ghost Walk right now. As soon as I cast a spell, it's going to teleport me. So at this point, I just observed, and then I quickly broke the spell and came back down, but at least I had a plan in mind for what I was going to do depending on who won this battle. And again, these are the last two mercenaries that we have here, so. So, yep. Broke the spell with a quick healing spell. And then set up my scenario again with Dispel Magic and Frost Rune. But as it turned out, Harrowing Dirge did it again. They were both so close to the same in terms of how much damage they had taken that once one guy goes down, it's snick, snick, and boom, they're done. Both dead. Killed each other. I didn't even have to intervene. So that was the guy in our faction. Guy we compelled, and then I had to look around a little bit to find the other one, but he kind of got blasted off the hill and was actually floating in the water on the other side of this little inlet here. And that is a wrap, my friends. Thank you so much, Gail, for the submission. Thank you to everyone who has submitted contracts and supported Couch Warrior TV on Patreon. Thank you to all of you who have been watching these videos and leaving such great comments. I really, really do appreciate it. These are a lot of fun to make, but they are a bit of work to make as well. Also, thank you to Anai Sion for making some really amazing mods. It's just incredible stuff. So much fun. And if you're interested in supporting Couch Warrior TV, you can go to patreon.charactercrusade.com. Once you are a supporter of $1 or more, you can submit a contract on our Discord server. You can get there by going to discord.charactercrusade.com, and I will see you next time.